Tommy, can you please answer?
Ma'am, by the time, can I ask one doubt?
Yeah, sure.
Ma'am, in the there is given some figures there like sepal, petal,
Correct.
and in that G, LS over is given. Why is this so?
Okay, LS. Okay, I'll tell you what is LS ovary. Good questions, Neha. These are things which actually, one should know. Okay, let me enlarge it for you. Yeah. So basically, when it is LS, what is the meaning of LS? It is a longitudinal section. What is the meaning of a longitudinal section? For example, I'm just drawing. For example, if there is some structure like this. So what you do while dissection, you take a slice lengthwise. You take a slice, the way you cut a cake, you take a slice lengthwise. So that is known as a longitudinal section. Understood? For example, if you would have cut the ovary like this, then they would have called it a CS, matlab a cross section. You have cut it cross sectionally. You've cut it horizontally. Then they would have said a CS of an ovary. It depends, because if you take a longitudinal section of the ovary, then, in that slice, you can see all the ovules properly. So that's why they have taken a longitudinal section of the ovary. Is that
Ma'am,
clear?
can you please repeat about the CS?
CS is a cross section. Wait, 1 minute. See, basically if there is the same stick, right? The same something part, you cut it like this. You just cut it like this. So what you get, this will be a cross section, CS. So when you take a cross section under the microscope, it will be round in shape, and then you will see the ovules arranged like this. But when you have taken a longitudinal section like this, you will see the ovary like this. The ovules are like this. Have you understood this, Neha?
Yeah, ma'am, but again there is one thing written as TS over it. That means?
TS ovary. Okay. TS ovary is basically a transection. Transection. This is a transection, or it's a CS and a TS is the same. They have taken a cross section. They have taken a slice like this. They have cut the flower and they have taken a very thin slice from here. That's what I said. It will be round.
Okay, ma'am. So CS and TS is same.
Yeah, it is the same. Transverse section and or cross section, whichever. Okay?
Okay. Can you please just write it somewhere? I just want to know. Okay.
Longitudinal section. And that is transverse section or cross section. Right? Next, read out the next portion.
Next to the sepals are five brightly colored petals. Figure
Correct.
they are the most conspicuous part of the flower and make it attractive.
Right. What do they mean by the word conspicuous? What is the meaning of conspicuous? Conspicuous means prominent, very visible, very loud. They say no, that person's behavior is very conspicuous. Matlab that person has a very loud behavior, very clear, very much visible. So the petals are very much visible. In every flower we can see the petals. You can't see the other parts, but you can see the petals very loud and very clear, and loud as in, very, very clear and visible. That's the meaning of conspicuous. So they mean to say the petals are mostly, they have bright and colorful petals, and they're very conspicuous. They would come out of the flower and make themselves pretty and beautiful, as if, they're going out for a party. They would be having or wearing their best dresses, right? So that is how prominent they are. Okay. Next line, Yashika.
In the next wall, we find long filaments. Each filament is a part of stamen. Figure it has a distinct tip with two anthers.
Correct. So this is what I was saying. This portion is called the stamen. What we also call it the androecium, the male part, right? it has got a very thin filament. It's very thin, you know. When all of you dissect the hibiscus flower, you will get to know this is very thin. And over and above it, there is this structure, you know, there are two portions of it. Each of them again are divided into two, which are called the anther. And as I said, the anther has yellow dust-like particles, which is called the pollen grains. Okay? Next line.
Split open an anther, we find fine yellow particles in the anther. These are pollen grains.
Correct. These are pollen grains. Good.
In the next hole, we find a single elongated structure in the center of the flower. It is broader below the tapers at the top. This is the pistil or carpel figure F. The lower border part is the ovary. Its slender, elongated part is the style. The end of the style, which is sticky, is the stigma.
Correct. So basically, you know, here they are, remember I said gynoecium? Gynoecium is also known as the carpel, right? It is also known as the carpel. This is called the gynoecium, correct? And stamen. Stamen is also known as the androecium. Correct?
Ma'am, gynoecium is also known as pistil, right?
It is also known as pistil, correct. It is also known as carpel, or it is also known as pistil. Correct? Okay. So basically what they want to say is that, you know, here in carpel, in pistil, or in gynoecium, what happens is that there is a long tube-like structure, right? On that, there is a knob-like structure. And below that, there is this, you know, structure out here. As I said, the ovules are arranged like this, opposite to each other. Correct? Now, just to you know, discuss elaborately what happens in a stigma. This portion of a stigma is basically very sticky. Why does it need to be sticky? Yashika, why does it have to be sticky?
Ma'am, can I have a try?
Yeah, please do.
Ma'am, because it should be pollinated somehow with the insects or by itself, and the anther should get into the stigma, so it should
Very
be
good.
sticky.
Very good. Very good. Excellent. So basically the reason why it is sticky is basically when the pollen grains fall on it, the pollens must stay sticking here. Right? So you will always find a stigma, the top of the stigma is either, you know, sorry, it got deleted. So the top of a stigma, you know, is either sticky, or you will find, you know, a little, how do I say, very fine hair-like structures. You will find very fine hair-like structures, so that the moment a pollen grain comes and sits here, it settles here. It doesn't fall off. It should get stuck to the stigma here, out here. That's the reason why the stigma is either sticky or it has fine hairs. It has fine hairs to keep the pollen grain, to keep the pollen trapped.
So it's like a toothbrush.
It is like a toothbrush. The only difference is that the bristles of a toothbrush are hard, long, you know, visible. But here the fine hairs are very soft, very little, tiny, and at times microscopic. Right? So basically, it holds the pollen grains intact so that it does not fall. It has to hold the pollen grains for a few hours so that the pollen grains can slowly enter inside this tube, the fine tube. Correct? I will explain the entire process now, what happens. Right? Let me draw this elaborately now. Okay, so this is what happens. I'm so sorry, you know, it's a little getting tilted. Okay. All right. So basically, you know, there would be a bumblebee or a bird, or maybe through self-pollination, all the pollen grains, a few pollen grains would come here, right? It will get stuck here, right? Then what happens is that after a few hours, the pollen grain will grow a small tail-like projection, which is known as a pollen tube. Then again, after a few hours, again, you know, the pollen tube will grow in size. Slowly and slowly, it will grow as long as it will grow till the time it reaches the ovary. Slowly and slowly, it will grow. And after the pollen tube grows, it will enter inside the ovary. This is the ovary we're discussing, is that the moment the pollen grains sit on the stigma, it develops a long tube-like structure. And that long tube, which is known as the pollen tube, you know, enters the ovary through a hole. There's a tiny hole out here which is known as the micropyle. The tiny hole is known as a micropyle. Here I would request all of you must have seen chana, right? Chana, rajma, whatever, you know, you will find at the base there is a small hole like this. If you have not seen, I would suggest that all of you see. And when you keep it in water, when you allow it to germinate, you will find the radicle, the small root, and the plumule, the small plant, generally comes out from that small little hole only. Right? So this is basically, this is different, right? So
Ma'am, can I add something that the pollen tube is that time only, like it is coming out that time, or it is already there?
no, it is not there. It is prepared. It grows. Then we know that pollen is just one small round ball-like structure which is like very tiny, yellow in color, and it is just a small round ball in color. It does not have anything else. When it sits on the stigma, it does not have anything else. After it sits on the stigma, after a few minutes or after a few hours, then these pollen grains develop that pollen tube. Slowly, slowly it grows in length. Slowly, slowly it grows in length. And after it grows in length, it enters through the micropyle, it enters into the ovary. And it goes in contact with the ovule. And then the fertilization happens. We all wonder now that the pollen grains just sit on the stigma. No, it will sit on the stigma, then the pollen tube will grow long, long, long until it reaches and enters the ovary and touches the ovule.
Ma'am, you told some word about entering inside it. What was the word?
The small hole, you know, which is present in the ovary is called the micropyle.
Micropyle.
Yes.